What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're talking about The Imaginary. Not to be confused with Imaginary or If Imaginary Friend. So, I don't know what we're doing this year. I don't know why everybody's making an Imaginary Friend movie, but what the hell? This is on Netflix. It's animated. It's for kids, and it has audio description. It's actually anime, from what I understand. Japanese animated. It has a Japanese voice cast, so if you're sighted, you can watch this with the original Japanese voice cast and then read subtitles. I've never really understood that with animation films, why you would do that. Like, why would you choose to do that? But I didn't really like the voice cast to this, so kudos. Maybe you have a point. Um, and in this voice cast, by the way, are some solid talent. We have Haley Atwell, we have Cal Penn, and we have LeVar Burton. I would give LeVar Burton maybe the best because he came in like he was ready to do like Reading Rainbow, and it's like a pleasant performance. Cal Penn sounds like he's on Ambien, and I didn't even recognize Haley Atwell until I looked at the credits because I was like, is that Cal Penn and LeVar Burton? And I was like, those are Cal Penn and LeVar Burton. What a weird voice cast. Uh, so yes, this film is about a little girl named Amanda who she has an imaginary friend named Roger. It's really hard to understand because of the way they speak. I don't know. There was literally a scene later in the film. This isn't a spoiler because it has nothing to do. It's just the way she says it. Um, where she's trying to tell somebody her imaginary friend's name, and she's like, "It's Roger, not Roger." And I was like, "I have no idea what you're saying. Why were you chosen?" I literally the words sounded exactly the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like she said the exact same name twice. I was like, I don't know the difference in this imaginary friend's life between what you just said. It makes no sense to me or difference. So Raja is it may literally be like Raja, like Raja, like Raja is maybe what they're going for. Raja. I have no idea. It's every time they say it really aggressively. Raja, Raja, Raja. It's like okay. Um, that's why I'm like I don't like the vocal performances here. I really just the voice cast here. I felt like everybody didn't know what they were doing and they were handed dialogue and they're like, what movie is this for? I don't know. Here's a check. All right. Cool. Can you tell me what the movie's about? No. What what am I doing in this scene? We have no idea. Uh okay. Um it's a weird project, but I'll do it. That's kind of what it felt like that all the actors made the opportunity to do. Um, yeah, I'm usually very pro. If it's animated, let's go ahead and use an English voice cast because that's kind of what makes sense. And for the most part, it has always been like we've done a really good job of finding some phenomenal voice talent for some of the films, especially like Studio Ghibli films have really gone out of their way to use some really good talent. Like I actually really love the English dub to Spirited Away. You know, I think that's a really good version of that film. But I can't say that here. I liked the movie though. I'm actually pretty high on the movie, which was hard to get through because of the way that the dialogue is delivered all the time. But when you really break down the movie, it's actually cute. It's actually kind of interesting. Um, it's centered around the idea that eventually Amanda's going to basically Bing Bong. Basically, what's going to happen to Raja is going to happen to well, it's what happened to Bing Bong in Inside Out. At some point, gonna disappear and fade away because Amanda won't be seeing him anymore, and we'll forget about him. We'll grow up and won't need an imaginary friend anymore. So Roger kind of goes through this experience and sees somebody else sort of drift away as they're being forgotten, and is scared. And he's like, well, I don't want to drift away. And he thinks he's being forgotten. And this cat comes up to him and he's like, I know what's happening. And this is the cat that's played by Kal Penn. And I swear Kal Penn delivers all his lines like, I know who you are. I know what's happening to you. Come with me. Let me show you where to go. I was like, what is happening in this movie? So he goes with the cat that speaks like he's on Ambien, and just finds this world of imaginary friends that have survived, that haven't disappeared. There's like this safe haven for them, but they have to stay in this little area. And it's really well explained, actually. I actually liked the way the loophole worked. Basically, they're in a library with books. And as they point out, books are full of imagination. So the imagination in the books gives them the power to stay alive as imaginary friends. So they don't drift away in a library. Cool. That's why it's called like the imaginary, because there is so much imagination in books, and I like that concept. I love telling kids that. This is a very like pro read books film. Good. Let's send that message. It's like, where do all your imaginary friends go? Well, they go into the library where the books are. Read one. And Raja meets this other sort of human-esque. Most of the imaginary friends are not human-esque. Raja is. And he meets another one that's like him. And they bond. And then Raja continues to go on a journey. Of course, there's a villain. Something happens to Amanda. I don't want to spoil it, but there's something that happens with Amanda, to Amanda, whatever. That makes Roger's journey harder. But he also very much feels like he's on Woody's journey also, where he feels like no matter what, I have to get back to Amanda. I have to let her know that I'm here and everything's going to be okay. And he risks his existence to get to her. And that is something that's special about this film. Like, there's stuff here. There's something here. I kind of felt that with Orion in the Dark, but I felt like Orion in the Dark just needed a completely different studio and director. I felt like there was a pitch, you know what I'm saying? Like a pitch, maybe it was good, like in concept stage when they did like a treatment. Maybe the treatment was solid, and then somewhere after that, it just went downhill. Somebody was like, I have no idea what we're doing here. And they completely lost their train of thought. But there is something, there's like a question in Orion in the Dark that worked. In Imaginary, it works more here. There's something here where when you follow the thread, when you follow what the movie's trying to say or has to say, it actually feels better. The problem is it's burdened if you listen to the English dub, and if you're blind like me and you have to listen with English audio description, you have the most boring voice cast or unintelligible voice cast that I've heard in a long time. I swear to God, when that girl said, "It's Roger, not Roger," I was like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And why was this the recorded dialogue that was allowed in the film? I couldn't tell the difference between what she was saying. So yes, I'm a little mixed on this. I don't think this is going to get Netflix an Oscar nomination. It doesn't seem like most people think it's going to get an Oscar nomination. Its critic score is like mid. It's like in the 60s on Metacritic, which is not great. Doesn't necessarily scream Oscar nomination. It's not prohibitive. The animation would have to be really weak this year for the Imaginary to get in. So hopefully Netflix has another film later on this year. This is opening in the same window of time as The Sea Beast, which did go on to get an Oscar nomination for them. So I'm hoping they're not thinking that this is the film for them. This is also the same as last year's Nimona, same window of time. So I think this is usually when they've put out their past two films that have gone on to get an Oscar nomination have opened in this window of time. And here's The Imaginary. If voters are watching the Japanese cast with English subtitles, maybe it'll get in that way. But I can't imagine this voice cast helps them at all. Props to LeVar Burton for sounding the closest like he knew what he was doing in this film. Other than that, everything is waste. So trying to grade just the film on itself, audio description I thought was fine. Again, I felt like there could be more. I didn't even get the company for this and failed miserably. But I felt like there could have been more, just because you're talking about like imaginary friends, and it's like, why don't we get into all of that and the world and the fun and fancy? But I don't know what's actually on screen, so if the movie feels like it's on Ambien, it's possible that the imagination part of it could have been on Ambien too. So this movie could just fall short on its own. So maybe the audio description does nail it, and it just is not as far as it could have gone. So I'm gonna give The Imaginary a B. I think there's something here. I think your kids might like it. Kids are usually more forgiving of voice cast, although they like to be engaged by really over-the-top voice cast, and that's not what happens here. This is not an over-the-top voice cast. This is not full of cartoonish voices. I don't know what this is, man. I really just don't. I downvote the voice cast across the board. And there are people I like. I like Kal Penn. I like Haley Atwell. I like LeVar Burton. I mean, these are people I like. I don't know what happened. I think there's something unique about how they recorded it, because everybody just sounds disconnected from the rest of the cast, from the film, from the scene they're in. I don't know if they knew what they were doing. I don't know if they ever saw. A lot of times, voice talent gets to see what the character looks like. They even have, generally, they're in the storyboard process so that they can see. Sometimes they get to see the scene animated, depending on. It just depends on how are you shaping the film from the talent, or is the talent shaping to the character? I've heard all different sorts of things. I've heard that some characters have been influenced heavily by their voice actors, whereas other times the character is already done and the actor gets to come in and has to morph to what the character is. So I don't know at what stage these people got it, but it really makes me feel like they never saw the movie and they never met anybody else in the cast, and they had no idea what they were doing, and were kept for some reason. Like they all just recorded it in home voice studios or something and just sent it off. And they're like, what did we just do? I don't know. It was some voiceover work for an animated film. If Netflix wants to win an Oscar with this, they're going to have to do better. I would re-record the whole voice cast and just re-upload it with people who actually are used to doing animated films and sounding like not this. So, yeah. There you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.